Okay. Mic check 1 2 1 2. I am the Y2K Collector, and I am back. It is a new week of pickups, and I don't have a ton. Got a few. Went to an antique store that I didn't even realize was in my area. And when I walked in, I saw that the gentleman had some gems, so I was super excited about that. Also, GameStop is still running their 50% off clearance sale, so I found some gems that I left behind, and I went ahead and snagged those. Had some Sega Genesis pickups, picked up a few peripherals like some controllers and some cords, and then had some Super Nintendo bangers that I got. So a lot of good stuff on this episode. Don't want to do too much jabbering and blabbering. I kind of want to dive right in and start off with some of these GameStop pickups, because that sale is still going on, and if you haven't had a chance to take advantage, go ahead and do that. And these still all have the stickers on them because I literally just got back from doing a little bit of hunting, not real hunting, not thrift store or yard sales, but just some regular GameStop stuff. So let's go ahead and kick it off and start it off with this one. This is a game that I already have for the Switch, and I've played it. It's a really good one, but this is Ever Forward on the PS4. This is a very interesting, pretty unique game. Just interesting. You're hopping from, it's like a 3D platformer. You're hopping from platform to platform, but just the world you're in, the environment you're in, and the story itself is just really unique. So this is one that I got on the Switch, and I can only imagine it looks better on the PS4. So went ahead and got it here because it is 50% off clearance. So really glad to have that. The next one that I snagged here, I'm always into those hack and slash games, right? Especially the Dynasty Warriors series. So this one was right up my alley. And this one is Zhuan Yun. I think I'm saying that right. If I am not, let me know down in the comments. You can put the pronunciation down there. But this is another cool one. Kind of a hack and slash. Had it there at GameStop in the clearance. So I went ahead and took advantage of that. So that's Zhuan Yuan. I think that's how you say it. Forgive me. Next up, went ahead and snagged this bad boy, and that is the Yakuza Remastered Collection. They had this one there, again, 50% off clearance. This is a cool collection of the Yakuza games. I started off with the PS2 on these games, and I really like this series. They're really cool, like Kung Fu style 3D beat 'em up games, and I'm all about that. So definitely happy to have that. And then last but not least, this was one that I was really glad to get. This is a new release. I haven't bought a newly released game in a long time, but this one I couldn't pass up, and I think this is sold out. Couldn't find this on Amazon, and the guy at the store said that they only got one copy at the GameStop. I guess if you're not pre-ordering this, they're not going to send it to your GameStop, but that is Star Ocean Divine Force. Now, this is a very interesting Star Ocean game because I've played Star Ocean games going back to the PlayStation 1, but those have always been more traditional, like turn-based RPGs. I think this one is like an action adventure kind of RPG game, more hack and slash style, more Tales of Arise style, that whole feel. So I'm really interested to see what the gameplay is going to be like on this. You know, I'm all about that. And this is brand new. Yes, paid full retail, but so what? This is a cool one to have, and I'd rather get it before it becomes scarce. This is one I think I could see this one becoming scarce, so maybe not, could be wrong, but definitely want to play it. So I'll be popping this in this afternoon. All right, next one that I got here, this was a thrift store pickup. They had 75% off all green tags today, so why not grab a copy of Star Wars The Force Unleashed. This is a classic game. I really like this one. I think this has had greatest hits releases and stuff, because this is just a fun kind of 3D action game. You got, you can use your, the power of the Force. You can, move things with your mind. You've got your lightsaber, just a lot of cool attacks and abilities. And then you can level up in this game, I think, and strengthen the main character. So this is a cool one. Star Wars Force Unleashed, not uncommon, pretty cool there. All right, let's get into some of the extras here. So stop by local game store. I needed these cables this is an AV cable for a Sega Genesis, and this is going to kind of clue you in on one of the pickups that I got. But this is AV cables for a Model 1 Genesis. And since we're on it, I might as well talk about it. So while I was out happened to drive by this antique store and noticed that they had an NES in the window. I was like, this is kind of random. You know, you have antique chairs and then a random NES. So I happened to walk in, and when I walked in, this guy had a couple cool things for me. And I'm gonna go ahead and start it off. And since I've already mentioned it, I'll go ahead and show you this here. This is an AES Nintendo console. I've never owned a Nintendo, but I picked this up at that antique store. Not the best condition, but never had an an NES rather. I'd love an AES. What is that, Neo Geo? I'd love one of those. But yeah, never had an NES before. This one's got some, some scuffs and stuff on it. But he sold me this. It came here, as you can see, and then it also came with these two here. So 2 controllers and I think some cords. So I've never owned an NES before, but I got this as part of a bundle deal. So you got the NES, you got 2 controllers, and then the main reason why I got that bundle in the first place, and that was for this guy. So I know you're probably like, Sega Genesis, big whoop, who cares, it's just a Sega Genesis. But what makes it a big whoop is that high definition graphics right there. So this is a Model 1 Sega Genesis, and while this console is fairly common, finding the high definition graphics one is not as common. And this one does have the better sound. So for some of those Sega Genesis games that I like to play, this is going to be the better route. And he sold me this Sega Genesis along with that NES bundle all together. And in addition to that, he also had a loose Super Nintendo controller, which was in pretty, let me get this in focus here. But he sold me a loose Super Nintendo controller that was in pretty good condition. This is really clean for a Super Nintendo controller. Don't really run into them this clean that often. But I definitely wanted to snag this one because one of the Super Nintendo controllers I have is it's starting to yellow and it's really not in great condition. So this is a really good upgrade in terms of Super Nintendo controllers. And that's an authentic OEM one. So really happy about that antique store. Got a great deal on 2 consoles, 3 controllers, and just stuff that I don't really find often. So really happy about that. All right, keeping it going. Now we're going to kind of end it off with some cartridge-based games, and got to take advantage of some deals that I got through trades, as well as selling some games that I got, some used games that I'm no longer using. And so I made some Sega Genesis game pickups as well as some SNES pickups. I'll save the SNES for last. I know that's a fan fave, but I'll blow through some of these Sega Genesis games. So first up, we have Forgotten Worlds on the Sega Genesis. I already had this, but I did not have one with a manual, and I was able to find this upgrade. I love upgrading games, so found an upgraded copy with an immaculate manual there. So this is a really good upgrade for me. Love Forgotten Worlds. Really cool shoot 'em up. Check it out if you haven't. Then next up, you have Michael Jackson's Moonwalker on the Sega Genesis. Another solid pickup. Behind that, you have this one here, Wings of War. This is a super dope shoot 'em up. This is a sleeper. This is coming out of focus, but don't know how many people know about this game. But Wings of War, if you've never heard of it, check it out. It's a really, really fun side-scrolling shoot 'em up game. Then last but not least, this is one that everyone knows about, Ninja Turtles Hyper Stone Heist. So got some really great GRAILS out of those trade-ins, and really stoked to add these to my collection. They are all complete in box, so hyped about that. And then we're gonna end with some loose SNES games. So first up, we have Spawn on the SNES. This was a really cool one to find. I had this when I was younger, lost it, and it's crazy because when I had it the first time, I didn't know all the moves you can do with that game, but there's a lot of really cool moves that you could do with Spawn in that game. Next up is Batman and Robin by Konami. This is a very pretty game. The sprite work in this is awesome, and if you haven't played it, check it out. All the Batman and Robin games are great, both for SNES and Sega. And last but not least, I finally completed the trilogy, and that is Final Fight 3. And yes, I have it in this corny plastic case, but this is a really fun one on the SNES. And if you like beat 'em ups, Final Fight 3 is a classic, and I'm super glad to have this in the collection. And that does it. Got a quick one for you. Did a little bit of a rapid fire on some of these pickups. Ran into some really cool old school stuff and got some great gems. But let me know what you're getting out there and what you're seeing out there. I am the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.